I want to propose to you today that maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump was not the worst president in American history. You know, when we think about Trump and Trump's legacy, Trump was clearly a worse president than Barack Obama. We know that that's clear. Obama. Trump was clearly a worse president than George W. Bush. He was worse than Bill Clinton. He was worse than George H.W. Bush, et cetera. But is it possible that there has been a worse president than Donald Trump? And I am going to suggest to you today that that president may have been James Buchanan. What? Just hear it out, okay? James Buchanan was president from 1857 to 1861. He was a pro-slavery Democrat. Of course, remember, this was before the realignment, the party realignment. Being a Democrat then is very different than being, Adam Schiff today. We're talking about something very different. And Buchanan essentially led the country to civil war. So let's compare and contrast elements between Trump and Buchanan and see where we come out. On race relations, we might call it. Trump inspired and coalesced racists of all kinds. He was extraordinarily racially divisive. He hesitated to condemn white supremacy and neo-Nazism until he had absolutely no choice. He passed and advocated for policies that were discriminatory against immigrants and minorities, and he stoked racial tensions with the rhetoric. Buchanan, however, was for slavery. He was for slaveholders. He endorsed the Dred Scott decision, which denied rights to African Americans. He pressured Kansas to adopt a pro-slavery constitution. He supported the secession of southern states, which quite literally would have ripped the United States apart. And he did nothing to stop the violence between the pro and anti-slavery factions. Now you could say, well, David, being pro-slavery at the time was different because, fine, okay, but this is James Buchanan. Now, in terms of legislatively and relationships to Congress, of course, Trump's relationship to Congress was a disaster. Clashing with Congress, ignoring, defying congressional subpoenas and oversight requests, vetoing some bills overridden by bipartisan majorities. Okay, but when you look at Buchanan vetoed many bills, completely uncontroversial bills about land grants and internal improvements, tariffs, which at the time were arguably necessary and uncontroversial. Buchanan tried to actually influence congressional elections using intimidation. You could say, well, Trump did some of these things too. Sure, but we're saying, is it possible Buchanan was even worse? Now, when we look at crises that afflicted each of these presidencies, Trump had a number of crises. The pandemic, the associated recession, the rash of police brutality incidents that led to protests in favor of racial justice, obviously inciting an insurrection, comically disastrous relationships with foreign leaders and kowtowing to dictators, all these different things. Disastrous handling for sure, downplaying the pandemic, contradicting experts, spreading misinformation, failing on testing and tracing and PPE, all these things, lacking empathy and compassion, all of that. But then you say, well, look at the crisis that James Buchanan dealt with. James Buchanan dealt with a situation that quite literally led to a civil war, which could have ended the United States as we know it. And he handled it. You could say Buchanan's handling of the lead up to the Civil War was worse than Trump on the pandemic. It's a different environment, but you could say that. Buchanan said, secession's not illegal. Said, I have no power to stop it. If they're going to secede, they're going to secede. He said it's the abolitionists' fault. Those who want to end slavery are provoking the South, accusing the abolitionists of treason, refusing to reinforce and resupply federal forts of all kinds, which subsequently were attacked by Confederate forces. You could say he left Union forces unprotected, which is unbelievably disgusting. And he also did nothing to stop violence in a bunch of different states. So could the argument be made that Buchanan was actually the worst president. When you think about the legacy, yeah, Trump was impeached twice and he incited the insurrection and failed on COVID, all of those things. Buchanan quite literally left a broken nation, and I don't say that metaphorically. He left a nation in civil war, which was trying to break itself apart. So I think that it's really difficult to compare 1861 to 2021 because there are so many fundamental structural differences that the country saw during that period of time, of course. But I think you could make the case, if you wanted, that Buchanan was a worse president than Donald Trump, betraying his oath of office and his country and his people, which Trump did too, but maybe Buchanan did it in an even more egregious way. Let me know what you think. Worst presidents in history, Trump, Buchanan, someone else? Let me know in a comment. Let us know in an email. We're going to take a very quick break and be back after this. All of the stuff we've been talking about today, you can find it on our YouTube channel, on our TikTok, on our Instagram. It's almost too easy to find it, quite frankly.